I think it would have been cool if I gave a lengthy description and then you thought that I was gonna talk about Black Mirror, the Netflix series, but then I said, no, haha, I'm gonna talk about this other Black Mirror. But I haven't watched the series, I don't really have the patience for TV series in general, so... Hey, I'm Liv, and today I'm gonna talk about the Black Mirror series. They're point-and-click adventure games that, I guess they're horror. They're not really scary, more like Halloween themed, but that doesn't make me love them any less. They're pretty long games for the genre, taking around 15 hours each to complete, except for the most recent one, but we'll get there. Very atmospheric, the type of game that makes you feel like you're in this little village in the middle of nowhere, and also it's so beautiful, at least in my opinion. If what I'm showing here looks interesting, I highly recommend you go check them out first. They're all on Steam. The first game in the series is basically a senior season when it comes to video games. It was released in 2003, so it is a little bit tricky to get it to run properly. But nothing that someone intelligent such as yourself can't figure out. And just want to warn you that these games do include a fair bit of violence, and I think what deserves a special warning is, living life out of your own choice, so viewer discretion is advised. I'll go through all the games, so pretty much all the spoilers for Black Mirror 1, 2, 3, and Black Mirror. And yeah, let's jump right in! Okay, hold on. Editing Liv here, and we're gonna have to do this in parts. I think it was really stupid of me to think that I would be able to make a video about 50 hours of game and make it not be 4 hours long. So we're gonna have to split this up. This is just gonna cover Black Mirror 1 and the other games will follow suit, but you have to stick around. This is just the first game. Okay? Okay.
Dear Sally, it was not easy for me to find fitting words for these first lines that I hope you are reading, as well as it was not easy to find out where you were living. I hope that my letter will reach your hands as soon as possible, as there is not much time left. Since your departure, I have contributed all my efforts and endless hours of sleepless nights looking for the truth about our family. I feel that I'm already very close to beholding its full face, and I am concerned that I might not have the strength to look at it alone. Therefore I am turning to you, Samuel, for I know that you will hear out my plea. In this envelope, you will find the ancient ring of our heritage. It is very important that you always have it with you. Take extraordinary care of it. Please return to our manor and help me. I know my time is closing in. I can feel it. I am afraid.
Samuel, the grandson of that old man from the beginning, comes back home for his grandfather's funeral after 12 years of being away. He never wanted to return and doesn't intend to stay, but he feels it in his bones that his grandfather didn't perish by his own hand, so he must investigate. Outside of Robert's room, who, by the way, I think is Samuel's uncle. Honestly, this family calls each other by their first names, so it just makes their relationships kind of foggy. But outside of his room, he finds this note hidden inside the newspaper.
Robert, I have only now received your
letter. That permanently drunken goof whom you have paid to be the messenger brought it late. I will take care of your parcel as usual. Do not worry. Fortunately, no one cares about anything in this godforsaken place. P.S. I suggest you give more money to that blockhead Mark next time. Maybe it will help him be more tardy.
Going into his room, it seems that nothing has changed. It looks exactly the same as it did 12 years ago. We also find out that his wife, Catherine, died in a fire there. Maybe that's why he left, wanting to flee from this horrible past. We then pick up his meds and wallet. First time a point-and-click adventure protagonist has ever had one of those, and we go exploring. After a bit, we get our first objective.
The entrance to the tower is nailed shut. I must get rid of these barrier boards somehow.
Talking to Bates, the butler, we find out that Robert has been very busy with his job as a doctor in Ashbury, the asylum. He also mentions this very reassuring observation.
During the last few months, things have been getting noticeably worse, day by day. It is as if the bleakness within the old walls of this manor is gradually taking us over.
While Bates was talking, you might have noticed this charming picture here.
Mordred Gordon, the heartless ruler of the dark ages of our history. His rule was ended by his own brother Marcus in 1213.
Why must Mordreds always be evil? Like, this is my OC Mordred and she's so precious. Mini tangent over, on the other side of this entrance hall there's a picture of Marcus.
Marcus Gordon, the younger of the two brothers that began our dynasty.
The cherry on top of the entrance hall is this monolith here.
The founding stone of the original castle that Marcus and Mordred jointly laid in 1206. It's made of a single piece of some strange stone, charged with a peculiar kind of energy, as William would say. The atmosphere of centuries long gone can be felt around it.
Anyways, in the library, we get more acquainted with Heinz, their physician. He tells Samuel that there were some deep burns on William's body, but refuses to talk about it in the day of the funeral, telling us to drop by his place tomorrow. Exploring the library, we find this book on William's desk.
The Chronicle of the Warm Hill Manor. The local parish has been here for a very, very long time. Marcus Gordon had the church built so long ago that the date has already been lost in the mists of time. Should we hold to the views of respected historians, it was around 1215 AD that the church was built. It is thought that Marcus had the church built on pagan lands where many innocent people died through the ages. One thing, however, is more certain. It was this age that also gave rise to the Academy at Black Mirror, As with Warm Hill Church, it was Marcus who was responsible for the construction of such a significant building. The new academy with its vast library was supposed to serve as a knowledge base for all the people. It was also a safe place for depositing the chronicle of the Gordon family that Marcus ordered his wise men to protect. In this, however, fate was not kind to Marcus. The whole academy burnt to stone long after his death, around 1512 AD. Despite the vigorous effort of the people of the manor, who hurried to the disaster to fight the flames, the academy burned to the ground. If it hadn't been for a few brave souls, however, we would have never known who Marcus Gordon was, nor some of the history of Black Mirror Manor, as most chronicles were lost to the flames. There was no one left of the academy to care for the remaining records and old books. Consequently, the volumes that remained were passed on to the Warm Hill parish to the safekeeping of Father Matthias. Since those times, the Gordon family chronicle has been handed over from one successor of Father Matthias to the next, until today.
Okay, so lore, and we're gonna have to check the church out later. Going outside, we drop by the stables to talk to Morris. He seems to become a little paranoid when we ask if he can see inside the tower from his humble abode in the stables, and tells us that Henry, the gardener, is a drunk who likes to gossip. Inside the stables, though, there's
red wine from our cellar. How did the bottle get here?
Apparently William gave it to Morris, but Samuel doesn't believe that for a second. But we'll leave that alone for now. We also pick up a hammer to get rid of the wood planks in the tower.
Done. The path is free of obstacles.
2 seconds later.
Damn! The door is locked.
Well, back outside. Damn, this place is looking rough. Turn it into a hotel or something, that should help it. So, Samuel wants this little fountain cleaned up. I love that Samuel is very clearly a rich kid from a noble family. Like, wow, characterization, he is not just, an empty vessel for us. But, by God, that does not mean I like him.
Either you clean it by tomorrow, or you can start looking for a new job.
From this and several other conversations, we learned that people thought that William was cuckoo, and that he had suddenly become an almost total recluse during the last 6 months of his life. Henry also tells us that he keeps the greenhouse locked because he keeps his stuff and tools in there, and he has seen Morris snooping around in there on multiple occasions. Geez, what's up with Robert and Morris both looking extremely suspicious right now? Asking Bates to take us to the scene of the crime, we notice this strange symbol on the wall, but have no way to register it for now. He also tells us that it was Samuel's grandma, Victoria, who ordered the tower to be sealed away. Anyways, we find Samuel's old camera in his room, and Robert gives us some film, and we can take a picture of that weird symbol. I don't know why, I guess just to have it for our investigation, I don't know. Now we head to Willow Creek to get the film developed at Murray's pawn shop. But apparently I'm not done with Black Mirror yet, because Samuel refuses to leave. You see, this is an old game, so there are a few janky features as it is to be expected. Black Mirror has a right-click mechanic that I don't think I'll ever understand. Just know that every once in a while you have to right-click instead of left-click to do something and progress the story. So I right-click this bush to pick up a strange object, and right-click this fireplace to pick up this picture. We ask around, but no one recognizes him. But Victoria says that it's an orphan who lived with them for a while and then he went mad and was sent to Ashbury. Ashbury, you say? She also tells us to remind Morris to board up the old well today, that the strange object seemed important to William, and that legend says that there's a secret chapel underneath the castle where Marcus defeated Mordred, and that no one knows where Marcus's final resting place is. And that she doesn't want to give us the tower key. After apologizing to her for bringing it up, she says that she got her key destroyed, and for us to talk about William's belongings with Dr. Herman. And he's gonna send us William's junk at 7 p.m. Talking to Henry about the strange object, he says that he pawned the thingamabob that looked similar to the strange thingy, but he lost the bill of exchange. Right. We go back to Robert and show him the picture again, and he's like, yeah, it could be one of my patients at Ashbury. And now we get to leave the estate. And then there's this amazing exchange.
Hi, what's your name?
I won't tell you that. I must not talk to strangers. My mum has forbidden me.
So, will you tell me your name if I tell you mine?
No, I don't know you. Have you got some sweets? Maybe some chocolate?
Would you like some sweets?
Anyways, at the pub, this guy tells us that William used to visit the vicarage in the middle of the night. And, well, just our luck, Murray is out of town. Let's check out the vicarage then. And, the priest, Father Frederick, is also out of town. Great. We get to talk to the gravedigger though. He tells us that the priest raised him as his own son, that William always looked in a hurry when visiting in the middle of the night, and that during his first visit he looked very agitated, and Father Frederick opened the door as if he were already expecting William to be there.
William will rest in this cold grave forever. I'll find out the whole truth, even if I go through hell for it.
After that, it's 7 p.m, time to receive William's trash from Dr. Herman. There's only some trinkets and a gold pocket watch with a note hidden inside.
To my forgetful head, the path to the key begins in the library, on my work table, hidden away under the blue curtain of unwritten words.
Okay then, back to the library.
There's a button under the inkwell. I'll try to press it. There's a box of some sort. I'll take it.
Now we go to the globe and I look at a walkthrough because I'm not even sure about which planet is which here. And voila! We get the key to the tower.
The door can't be opened.
Okay, let's get out of here. We take a rook that doubles as a little knife, a music box, and this little book from the table. There's a hidden key in the book that opens this chest, where we find a strange sphere and the question of, why did William need all this map equipment? Right-clicking the drawer, we find William's diary.
March 21st. I'm old.
I know my time is drawing in, and that is why I want to put some sense into my life before I leave this world. Maybe it is also because of the guilt that I bear in my heart for the fate of my dear James. The fate that I didn't have the courage to change. After all the years spent with the old journals, I know at last what the goal of my search is. I must not lose time. March 23rd. I learned that James is not the only one to have lost full control of his mind. Throughout the centuries, several of my blood ancestors have suffered from the same affliction that now curses James. It seems as though it is all somehow correlated, has a perverse purpose of some kind. I traced the family line and learned that every one of those poor souls had been born in the same week, repeating with the period of 2 centuries. April 5th. As the chronicle foretells, the way to revealing the truth is through 5 symbolic keys. I don't exactly know what their purpose is, but if they can lead me to the truth, I must obtain them. Centuries ago, the keys were given to different men of our family for safekeeping, so that they couldn't be used together. Luckily, I still have my own with me, and obtaining James's key should not be difficult. The next one must be in the hands of Marcus himself, according to the records. The 4th one was given to Durham Gordon, the original owner of the remote manor in Wales. I still do not know where the 5th key is. I have decided to start looking for answers at the place where the body of Marcus rests. I know that the tomb is concealed in the dark underground of the parish. I also found an extraordinary, in all probability, a ceremonial object in the shape of a perfect sphere. When I touched it, it was as though whole long centuries breathed on me. An odd feeling. May 7th. I am afraid of this night. I have not slept for 2 days now, and I hear voices. What's happening with me? Am I mad too? No, I repudiate that, now that I am so close to the truth.
Okay, we gotta assemble the thingies then. We use the rook knife to open the latch on the door, and just like that, we're free!
I'm feeling so strange. My head.
Sir, you're awake at last.
It would be best for you to sleep for a while.
This time, I will follow your advice, Robert. I should take a rest. Tomorrow, I'll find out more than today. I had a terrible dream. In the morning, my thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door.
Sir! Sir! Open up!
What's the matter then?
It's horrible, sir. Henry, our gardener. They found him in the garden pond.
Calm down, Bates. What are you talking about?
Welp, time to go snoop around Henry's personal belongings. The only thing of interest is this little box, but it's locked. Time to pickpocket him at the autopsy table. Oh, I guess we still have stuff to do at the manor. In the little pond where the gardener drowned, there's something shiny, but Samuel can't stick his hand in there, so we gotta drain it with this mechanism in the basement.
I spoke to Collier. As you can imagine, he asked me a lot of curious questions. Tell me, what did he question you about?
Many things, but most of all, he was interested in the place where we found Henry. It was very unpleasant having to describe it all over again, sir.
Oh? Can you repeat to me what you told him?
Okay, so I hate the drain puzzle. I don't know if it's just me being dumb, but I could not for the life of me understand the logic. And this being a senior citizen game, this doesn't reset when you leave. Yeah. Well, puzzle done, fountain drained, we take a picture of this mysterious symbol that looks kinda similar to the tower one and take the shiny key. Okay, let's see what's in this box. The bill isn't here. Okay, time to go out. At the pub, Mark, the guy who Dr. Herman hired to give us William's stuff, by the way, tells us that he talked to Henry in the previous evening and that he was sober 100%. Ooh, the plot thickens. Next stop, the pawn shop. Oh, how grand. Murray's film developing equipment is broken. And also, he refuses to give us the weird thingy without the bill of exchange. With a quick stop at the manor, Victoria gives us Dr. Herman's address so we can grave rob before the person is even buried.
I have returned as per our conversation yesterday. This won't take long. I would only like to ask a couple of questions.
Let me guess. This is about William, right?
Yes. You mentioned some bad burns on his body.
On the chest area, to be more specific, yes.
So?
So, what?
When we talked yesterday, you said you would tell me more about it. That is why I am here.
Is that what I said? Well, I can only repeat what I have already told you. Massive burns on the chest caused by an unknown object.
Is that all? An unknown object? What you're saying is different from what you already told me.
I cannot remember. Those were just initial theories, anyway. I have recorded everything in the post-mortem account. Shall I quote from it?
That won't be necessary. It seems Dr. Herman has lost his memory since yesterday.
Why is he concealing what he originally wanted to tell me after we had first met?
Oh well, he's gonna develop the film for us, so he can't be that bad, right? Outside there's a padlocked dumpster, but there's a not locked trash bin beside it which contains this note.
Dear H, my next delivery will reach you soon.
Delivery will reach you soon. You need not worry. Everything has gone smoothly. No one knows anything, and that is how it is going to stay. Do not forget that what I am doing here is for the good of science, and without your help, I would be unable to continue my research. I will send you my results, as usual, within the next month.
H. Herman is likely the addressee, but who's hiding behind the R?
R, you say? And maybe you forgot about it already, but Robert received a note in the newspaper and it was signed H.H. as in Heinz Herman. But like, Samuel doesn't suspect Robert yet, so like, maybe he's kinda stupid. Back in Willow Creek, we pay Mark to ring the doctor's doorbell while Samuel is in there and keep him busy for as long as possible. Can I just take a moment to say that it's so refreshing to be a point-and-click adventure protagonist who's not broke. I mean, this game obviously has that, exchange of favors, but in other games you always do it because of necessity, because like you don't have the money. And in this one, there are just a lot of people that you can't bribe, but I find it very refreshing to have money. Anyways, alone in the morgue, we finally get the bill of exchange and make a mold of the dumpster key, which we later get Mark to turn into an actual key. We at last get The Strange Thing Part 2! Well, it's been about 9.5 minutes since we last bothered Dr. Herman, so we better get back to work. He developed the film for us. I love having my pockets filled with trash. After that, we pick up the key Mark made and we can finally go dumpster diving in the morgue dumpster. There, Samuel gets really shocked that a morgue dumpster has human remains. And we find Henry's jacket, and there's a gem inside. And it's the third part of the strange object, so we can assemble it. With all that done, Father Frederick is finally back, so we can go scoop out the scene in the church.
I don't want to disturb them. Father Frederick? Tell me, Father, what do you know about Marcus Gordon?
He was a great man of his time. The exact opposite of his older brother. Mordred was a cruel antichrist. Thank God he didn't rule for long. Marcus convinced the peasants to rise and revolt, and they succeeded in overthrowing his reign. You can be proud to be of his blood, my son.
The priest tells us that William wanted to go in the old belfry, and after a while Fred allowed it. So we obviously go in there too, and have to solve this really cool puzzle. Like, I love this thing, and I haven't seen anything kind of similar to it in other adventure puzzle games. It's always this really annoying slide puzzles. I hate that so much. Slide puzzles out whatever this thing is in. You basically have to line up all the same colored gems in the right places. Like, there's the ones that can't move, so I really like it. I don't know about other people. And solving it reveals a secret passage into a secret chamber. And...
Damn! What was that? Entrance has closed.
well, we're stuck in this ancient, crumbling tomb. This is fine. Here we have to solve some really easy riddles. Anyways, solving all the riddles results in...
the grave of Marcus Gordon himself. Marcus, the first Gordon. There is no man today who would remember the origin of the Gate of the Two Worlds, the Black Mirror. This record shall be a warning to all who blindly long for power, not hesitating to stray from the path of fate, exposing their soul to dark forces. Mordred, the lord of our manor, an amoral, evil man, plagued the people of these lands for many long years, with his ill nature and hatred. His power, however, was soon ended by Marcus, newly returned from the battles with the disbelievers in distant lands. Well acquainted with the habits of his enemy, Mordred made meticulous preparations to withstand the attack of his brother. Realizing that not even the strong walls of the castle could hold against the onslaught forever, he descended into the underground of the chapel. There, he opened within its heart the Black Mirror, and urged the entities of shadow to help prevent his doom. He was not the only one, however, to know of the secret corridors below the castle. By the hand of fate, the balance of power began to lean towards Mordred's side. There was not much time left. Watching his men die around him, Marcus understood what had to be done. Overwhelmed by fury, he battled his way through many lines of enemies into the labyrinth of corridors leading to the heart of the underground cathedral. With haste, he took advantage of the momentary surprise and thrust his sword with all his might against his brother. Righteous anger hit its target, and cold steel pierced the black heart of the traitor. Victory was within grasp. Staggering on the edge of a bottomless abyss, Mordred gathered his last ounce of strength and brought forth his final desperate deed. With merciless hatred and zealous rage of his defeat, he pronounced the dark words of the curse. Of your blood, others will rise with your name, bearing my curse. One of your heirs will convert 5 souls of 5 mortals. This will be the catalyst to bring my anger back to life. And I will return. When your days have ended, there will be no one to stop me. Mordred then fell to his knees, and the throat of the Black Mirror closed as he took his terminal breath. In that instant, the whole place was filled by a deafening sound and blinding light, followed by an absolute silence. And one last thing to be done. 4 keys of power were divided by Marcus among the lords of the Gordon Manors, the 5th key remaining with Marcus himself. Never again would the keys meet in the hand of a mortal to open the gate between the worlds of good and evil. Such is the story of our Lord that saved us in the Dark Ages. Let his soul rest in peace forever. Isidore Vale, in memory of Marcus Gordon, 1240 A.D.
Black Mirror. The secret chapel the book mentions must be somewhere below the castle. I'll obtain the 5 keys and finish what William couldn't.
I mean, it kinda sounds like a terrible idea to meddle with this stuff, but like, go off, I guess.
Oh shit! A rat!
Oh, okay, he's fine. So now we're in an abandoned mine that was underneath Marcus's tomb, which by itself was underneath the church. Isn't it like sinkhole o'clock or something? By the way, if you click this wire, you immediately die, and this game doesn't have autosave. Hahaha, I totally didn't have to redo the whole church section on my first playthrough because of this. After turning the power off for a second so we can cut the wire safely, we leave. And by leave, I mean leave this tiny mine room into the mines. Yay! Anyways, we have to fix this elevator to get out. After relieving this barrel of its contents and lifting this hatch with the mining cart, we climb down to a room that has one of the pieces of machinery that powers the elevator. And you might have noticed that there's a Mr. Skeleton here.
Who could it have been?
Fortunately, he leaves us a diary, and apparently the mine was haunted, and ghosts kinda caused mischief and he got stuck in there. Tough luck, my dude. Also, his last wish is to be buried, but Samuel doesn't even flinch, like he doesn't even mention it.
Who could it have been?
A revolver. I'll take it.
Please don't make me fight anyone. I don't play FPS for a reason. We also get the machine plans and get this thing started. After dealing with our old friend, the blown fuse, we can finally leave. I'm not a huge fan of the abandoned mine setting, as you might have gathered. Leaving the mines, we have to shoot a wolf. So sorry, dude, it was you or us.
I scrambled through the vast area of the woods and set off for the castle.
Oh, Samuel! Come, join us. I did want to have a word with you, but I have to leave for the sanatorium in a short while.
Now? At night?
Yes. There is a problem that cannot wait. It must not be anything serious. You need not worry, Victoria.
I'll be leaving for Wales tomorrow, Victoria. I'll go to my room now, Victoria. I need to take a rest. I awoke drenched in sweat today. My past memories are haunting me even in my dreams. I should not have returned. I set off for our family's manor in Wales so that I could finish what William couldn't.
Okay, before anything else, this is my favorite section of the game. I love the Wales castle so much. It's so beautiful and sunny and bright, while still looking very much, medieval. I love it. But we kind of have to fix the doorbell ourselves, so the place is kind of falling into disrepair a little bit. On top of that, the caretaker doesn't want to let us in because they're scared of robbers. Dude, why'd you open the gates then? We give him William's funeral paper thingy to prove Samuel's identity, and yes, I did try to give him my ID, but if you try to use the wallet on him, it automatically goes to bribery. So...
This place is so stunning.
Well, Eleanor, I'm not really sure how we're related, but we are, tells us that William visited with Robert about 2 years prior and he seemed very interested in the family tomb. So this obsession with the curse of the gardens and stuff had been going on for longer than 6 months. By the way, the guy in the pic is called James. I think I missed that before. Apparently Richard, Eleanor's husband, is holed up in his lab trying to make a scientific breakthrough, so we'll visit him later. So pretty. Anyways. We can enter Robert's lab by getting the key with a simple firmwire funeral pamphlet life hack and then assembling a lighter because Samuel refuses to just feel around in the dark in this wardrobe here.
There is a latch. The back of the cabinet can be pushed off. Where could it lead?
Damn! Who the blazes are you? The sample in that flask was the last I had of that substance. I urgently need that substance for an experiment I'm planning to carry out this evening.
How can I help you then?
Would you want to?
I'll try.
It's a boron oxidant, EX52. Write it down. Make sure of the color, a vigorously saturated blue. You can't possibly confuse it with anything else.
Ah, great. We grab the shard of the bottle that has the label on it, probably because my memory isn't great, and a little bottle from this table because, hey, it's free. Back in the abandoned house section, we grab the log, old newspaper, and kettle. Now, I know absolutely nothing about chemistry, so Samuel's being guided by the hand of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ right now. We fill the kettle and bottle up with water and pour the blue ink from this fountain pen into the bottle. Oh.
Make sure of the color, a vigorously saturated blue. You can't possibly confuse it with anything else.
Oh. Well, we then fire up the stove and boil the water in the kettle, and with the steam coming out of it, we manage to get the label off the shard without ripping it, and glue it to the new bottle with... So Louis has the glue in this toolbox, so we have to distract him to get it. Plus he doesn't want to let us in the family tomb. Jackass. Luckily, Eleanor asks us to tell Louis to mow the lawn now and leave the doorbell for later. Thanks for solving our problem for us. We can now get the glue and the firm wire from the toolbox.
This should be it. The oxidant is ready. I just hope that Richard won't be examining the contents too closely.
And in exchange for our efforts, Richard tells us literally nothing of interest. Back to breaking and entering then. We accidentally drop the firm wire in the lawnmower's path, breaking it to be able to rummage through Richard's pockets. We're making his life a living hell. But we get the tomb key, so whatever. In the tomb, there are these 3 statues with baskets, so I guess we're gonna have to make some offerings soon. Now, we have to talk about another one of these senior citizens' quirks. Sometimes, a character will tell you that they'll do something for you later, and in this game, you actually have to wait. No, there's nothing you have to do to progress. Just walk around, look at stuff, and wait. This isn't exclusive to this section, but I didn't mention it before because it never caused me too much trouble. With Richard, however, I must have talked to him and then walked around the estate like 5 times over before he finally answered my question and told me the meanings of the inscriptions that are above the statues in the tomb. They're the names of the ancient gods of strife, harvest, and water, respectively. Don't worry, Bibbo, it's quite simple. We need some blood, earth, and water to fill the baskets and get access to the tomb. Reading some old newspaper clippings, we find out that Richard used to experiment with blood, so we ask him for a bit and he kindly allows us to grab some. For the water, we can simply pick the kettle back up, and as for the soil, there's this weird patch of dirt next to the tomb and we just take some of it. And... of course, it's never that easy. Marvelous, a slide puzzle! Here we can see the symbols of the zodiac and we have to slide them in order, going clockwise, and arrange these 4 other pieces to make an opening in the middle. My strategy was to arrange the left and bottom columns into place so that I only have a 3x3 puzzle to solve instead of a 4x4. In the end, I did have to make the signs go ring around the rosy to adjust this middle piece here, but nothing too difficult. I was planning on using the WikiHow Almighty 3x3 strat, but in it you have to set the first column line, I don't know what the difference is, the first thingy first, and just my luck, the first space in this puzzle is the one that has to be empty in the end. So I was alone in this one. Well, we get the key, but...
What are you doing there? How did you get in? Give me those keys for God's sake.
Well, back to Richard, I guess.
Do you remember our talk about the tomb?
Yes, I do. Did you manage to get inside?
Yes and no, but I still want to examine it thoroughly.
If it was something else, I'd settle it for you. But the tomb is a problem. Eleanor is very respectful of her ancestors and guards the place as if it were a shrine. I can't promise anything, but if you help me out, I'll make it easier for you to get inside.
I'll do what is needed. So what's the plan?
I'll explain everything later, but I have a couple of rules. First, you will come down here when it's dark. Second, you must not tell anyone.
Later that same evening.
Richard has locked himself in. Did he forget about our agreement?
Richard has cheese for our brains, I swear. So we take a few of these rocks and smash his window. Just kidding, we simply get his attention. I would never do something like that. So destructive.
Variant 2.
Variant 2.
Variant 7 follows. Nice and simple, so it has time to mix.
I understand.
Back to variant 2. Number 3 will follow.
2 and 3 follows.
Right then, we're mostly done. We just need to add the oxidant.
Oxidant? What oxidant?
The one you managed to break this afternoon. What luck you had catching the druggist.
Well, maybe I should tell you something.
Hurry up then, the time's almost up.
The oxidant, you see, it actually isn't...
Now!
Sorry, dude. Anyways, we go into the tomb and use our key here, and then we need another key to go further. Now, my memory still serves me well every once in a while, but it doesn't Samuel, I guess. So we have to go back to Richard to ask about this key. He mentions the little chess-themed box in the living room, so off we go to another puzzle. In this one, we have to invert the positions of the black and white pieces by using the knight movements, which are basically the rotations of the letter L, in case you don't know how to play chess. And just like that, we delve further into the tomb.
Use a stranger's head, or your own will shed.
Using this key that we get by breaking a skull hanging from the wall, we managed to unlock the grave.
Duggan Gordon. I did not have any reason to extend my stay in Wales. The next morning, I said goodbye to Eleanor and returned to Black Mirror.
First, about Sir Robert. He went away the night you left for Wales, sir. Just before he left, he told me he had to go to Ashbury on an urgent matter.
I know. I spoke with him about it. Did something happen in the sanatorium?
Unfortunately, sir, I do not know. Sir Robert did not return home that night. In fact, we have had no news of him since then.
Maybe he had to stay there. He told me he had a lot of work.
That is what we thought too, but the head nurse told us he left the gates of Ashbury just before midnight.
Bates, you started to say, first, about Sir Robert. Is there anything I should know?
Detective Collier showed up this morning. Someone from the village found a body of a boy in the woods.
A body of a boy? What happened to him?
Detective Collier suggested that the boy had been killed by the wolves.
Now please excuse me. I do not want to talk about this any longer.
Yes, I understand. I'll probably go to my room. Robert said something about a runaway patient before he left. Robert.
And that boy. Indeed, some very strange things have been happening around here lately.
Oh, just a moment. It's speak to everyone o'clock. People seem to think that it was a wolf that killed Vic, and Samuel seems to think that it wasn't.
Have you heard what happened?
Yeah, it's terrible. You know, I don't get distressed easily. But this boy, I feel sorry for him. They found him torn to pieces.
From Willow Creek, I set my steps towards the dark woods at the edge of our manor. My thoughts were with the ritual place of the ancient druids, Stonering.
Right, this is a job for a professional investigator. Get out of here, professional investigator. This case is ours.
Can you at least describe to me what happened?
Oh, well, since you've come this far, I suppose I should tell you what I know. But first, you tell me what you already know, so I'm not wasting my time.
I only know that they found the body of a young boy here, and it appears that he was killed by wolves.
Then you know almost all that I do. When the wolves attacked him, he was trying to escape. Unfortunately, the furious beasts flocked to the unlucky lad. You know the rest already.
Don't you find it odd that the bloodstains are only on that big stone in the middle?
I'd say the boy was trying to run to a higher place, but it was no help. That's all I'm willing to tell you.
Have you found out anything new about Henry's death?
Yes, a new fact has come to light that has made things clearer to me. It seems that Mr. Stanton did not die by suffocation, or drowning for that matter. Herman has not been able to determine the exact cause yet. What's certain, though, is that Stanton's lungs were not full of water, as is common with drowning. You see what this could mean if it were confirmed.
Not quite, Detective.
It would mean that he died somewhere else, and his body was carried and dumped into the fountain.
Another murder, then?
Well, I'm sure we'll eventually figure out what it all means. After the conversation, we register the third symbol in our journal. Notice that there's a piece of cloth that the detective hasn't noticed under a plant, and then plant evidence on a rock behind him to distract him so we can further meddle with the scene of the crime. My favorite! So we get a handkerchief with the Gordon symbol embroidered in it. Now we go to annoy Dr. Herman again.
Oh, would you believe that does not actually surprise me? So, what do you want to know?
I spoke with Collier about that boy. He didn't tell me much, other than the boy was killed by wolves.
Yes, that was the original theory. After a closer analysis, however, I can safely reject that possibility. The cause of death was severe blood loss and critical injuries of numerous organs. No animal living in these lands would be capable of doing this.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Going back to the manor and checking the letterbox, we find this letter.
Dear Father, hopefully it will be your hands that my letter reaches first.
I cannot endure staying locked away in this horrible place. Therefore, I have decided to do what I should have done a long time ago. I will explain everything when we meet at our place. I know that you will understand. James.
Father, so James is William's son.
Ooh, the plot thickens. Talking to Victoria, she confirms that yes, James is William's illegitimate son, and also that she called Ashbury, but they had no news of Robert and asks us to go check the place out.
Hello?
I know this is an awkward hour, but can you let me in? I would like to visit one of the patients.
We do not allow anyone in at this time. I'm sorry.
Samuel Gordon. I'm sorry. I forgot to introduce myself.
Very well then. I'll make an exception, Mr. Gordon.
I love being rich and powerful.
You see, he hasn't shown up for a couple of days now, and I was hoping you might know something. I would like to visit a patient named James.
James escaped the night before yesterday. It should have occurred to me that he might do something like this. I spoke to him the day before. He seemed much more anxious than usual. It was hard to understand what he was trying to tell me, but it was the head doctor that he was speaking about. He said he knew something important, but he could not tell anyone what it was. He kept asking me to put in a word for him with one of the doctors so he could go home, but he insisted that I not mention it to the head doctor. He acted quite desperate, so I promised I would help him. So I went to the head doctor to ask him for a temporary leave permit for James.
But you said he didn't want Robert to know.
I had to promise that, but without the signature of the head doctor, no patient can leave this place. He didn't agree, though, and defended his opinion quite firmly. It seemed rather strange to me, such rigidity, I mean. And the next day he escaped.
Why would James want to get away so desperately and suddenly? And why didn't Robert allow him to return to the castle? It seems to me that these things are related somehow.
Time to cause havoc again. We find out that we can wet our handkerchief in this fountain, so we do. We find out that we can take this rod by breaking this brick, so we do. Now, we have to find a way to take a look inside the boiler room. For reasons...
A syringe. Looks quite clean.
Following that, we ask the nurse to call Black Mirror and ask if there's any news of Robert. Also, we can have some alone time with that sweet, sweet medicine cabinet. We grab a sedative and use the quite clean syringe to pour some of it into one of the beers. We then trick the boiler thermostat into thinking that the room is cooler than it actually is with the wet handkerchief, making the temperature in there go up, and then the boiler man decides to cool off with some beer. Genius! In the boiler room, we find a door that leads straight to the patient's corridor. Great! Well, no problem. With the work schedule the nurse gave us in hand, we tell the doctor on duty in the corridor to scram via intercom. Though we have no idea which one is James's room, another patient, Ralph, tells us that he'll help if we can find his friend, Mr. Bubby. After finding the prestigious Mr. Bubby, giving him a little facelift, and reuniting him with Ralph, we find out that James's room is the one just next to Ralph's, but that Dr. Smith, the guy we told to scram, keeps all the keys on him. So we...
Hey! What is going on over there?
I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah. Well, we got the keys. Here we find this hole on the wall and talk to Ralph a bit more.
You said you are scared of the head doctor.
Yes. Very. He often shouts at us, and he's very strict. But I'm mostly afraid of him at night. He sometimes goes around to our rooms, and then something happens to somebody. Once at night, he also came to me, gave me some medicine, and after that, I was very sick. He said he would give me more if I told anyone. I don't know if I could bear more medicine.
When did you last see the head doctor?
I think it was that time he was shouting at James. I didn't see him the next night, and I didn't see him today either. I hope he will be gone for a long time.
Why would Robert administer medicine secretly at night? He must be hiding something. Tell me about James. Do you know why he ran away?
I think he no longer liked it here. And also, he was afraid of the head doctor. I too am afraid of Mr. Head Doctor. But James was really scared.
Why was he afraid of him?
He came once to James in the middle of the night, and they were talking for a long time. I was listening through this hall. Mr. Head Doctor was shouting at James a lot.
Did you hear what they were talking about?
Something about William somebody and a castle. I can't remember anymore. I was scared.
Okay, Ralph. Robert was probably quarreling with James about his possible return to the castle. But why didn't Robert want to let him go home?
Then we take this picture of this place that James painted, and we also find his journal in the mattress. Basically, Robert very bad, experimenting weird serums on James, and James just wants to go live in Black Mirror. Following that...
All right! Got you! I knew there was someone behind the escape. Do you hear me? I'll be back in a minute, and then you will have things to explain.
Damn, he wasn't dead. We have to get out of here. Luckily, Ralph tells us that there's a hole under the bed. Au revoir! Back at Black Mirror, Bates tells us that the place in James's painting is an abandoned lighthouse in their lands. So we go there. It's okay, we use the trusty rook knife and calm James down with the music box.
I am Samuel. William was my friend, just as he was yours. You have to trust me, James. William died a few days ago. They found his body under the old tower. Everyone believes it was an accident, but I don't believe it. I've come to you because you can help me find the truth. I want you to take a look at this. I know William left a similar object in your care a long time ago. I would like to get it back.
It's in the old sewers, deep under the castle.
But there are no sewers there. Do you mean the cellar?
There is such a place, right under the cellar. You can get there through one of the trains.
James, I know you used to live at the castle. Why did William leave you in Ashbury?
It wasn't William. It was Robert who let me grow old in that horrible place. Now, everything's changed. I am here, and nobody, not even Robert, is going to get me back. I hate that bastard.
Slay, James, live your life, King. As for us, we have a sewer system to explore. We climb down this grate and here we are.
The secret underground exits.
I mean, it's not really secret. We can see the stairs if you just look down the grate. Wasn't even locked. But okay. We grab some cogs to fix this machine and drain the water here. At the bottom, we find James's key, just like he promised. After checking this thing on the wall, Samuel gets a terrible headache, so he decides to rest for now and return later.
These horrid dreams feel like deja vu. Why am I dreaming such awful things? Just 2 days ago, my gloomy morning thoughts were interrupted by Bates' knock at the door.
Sir! Sir, open up! I must speak to you!
What is it, Bates?
They just called from Ashbury regarding a very serious matter. I think it is necessary that you go there as soon as possible, sir.
On the way to Ashbury, Bates's words resonated in my mind. I wonder what news of Robert I will learn.
Mr. Gordon, I have terrible news for you. The head doctor is dead.
Robert? What are you talking about?
An officer and a detective were here. It's awful.
How did it happen?
They said they found his body at the old lighthouse. James was sitting right next to the body.
James?
He was just sitting there, gazing. He didn't even try to escape, just kept crooning some melody. I never thought that he would be able to kill someone.
Where is James now? Where did they take him?
Where he belongs, back in his old cell. It's going to be his home for life.
I'd like to visit James.
All right then. I will let you in. But after what has happened, I cannot let you go in there alone. I will have to go with you. Oh, not this. Wait here. I must fetch a doctor.
It's getting kinda difficult to defend you, Samuel.
Damn, the blade cracked. Ralph, when did you last speak with James? Do you remember?
Yes, Samuel. He kept saying that he hadn't killed him. That's what he was saying.
Robert?
Yes, him.
What else did he say?
He said he knew who'd killed him. That he knew.
The name? Can you remember the name of the person he was talking about?
No. I was confused.
I set off for the old lighthouse on the Sharp Edge Cliffs. The only possible place where I can find out something about Robert's death.
Here we find another symbol. That's literally it. Then we head to the morgue to Pastor Dr. Herman again. But...
where could Herman be? He left the door open, and the morgue too. Strange, indeed.
well, guess what? Yet another symbol. And...
got it!
No comment, Samuel? Well, back to work. Apparently the doctor is clasping something, but post-mortem rigor and blah 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 blah. We pry his fingers open with a medical forceps and get a sample of what is most likely the killer's hair. And at that very moment...
I'd better leave quickly. Detective?
Mr. Gordon? What are you doing here?
I've come to see Dr. Herman, and... I know what it probably looks like, but I'll explain everything.
What are you talking about, Gordon?
I don't know how to say this. I found Herman downstairs. He was already dead when I came around.
I believe you. I know who is behind all of this.
Really? Who?
That lunatic who escaped from Ashbury a few days ago. Who else?
Why would James want to kill Herman? He didn't even know him.
Now we set off to Ashbury to get a sample of James's hair for comparison. And let's cut to the chase, it's not him. Morris? No, and by the way, he left a letter saying that he was far away and didn't want any part in the strange occurrences at the manor and its surroundings. Well, since we're in Black Mirror and have Robert's keys, might as well check his study. In it, we see this portrait. A key! Samuel doesn't know who this ancestor is though, so more research for later. We then notice that this middle bookcase is numbered 1120 in Roman numerals, so we input the time 1120 on the grandfather clock, and
a secret bookcase.
We also find this piece of paper in the study, and holding it to the light, we can see the code to the safe. From the safe, we take a ring, Robert's diary, which is basically about his evil experiments and how he wants to shut James up, the letter William was writing to Samuel in the beginning, and William's will.
I, William Gordon, have decided to bequeath my possessions as follows. To my dear Victoria, I give and will all my personal possessions, the family jewels and valuables, as they righteously belong to her heirs and assigns forever. To my grandson, Samuel Gordon, I hereby transfer the ownership of the Black Mirror Castle, with all the neighboring lands. To him I also devise the administration of our family residence. Let him take care of it properly, as I no longer can. To his heir and assigns forever. To my beloved son James, I give the full right to live in his native residence for however long he should desire, until the end of his days. By this I hope to at least partially atone for your having to live in complete loneliness, my dear James. And lastly, to my firstborn son Robert. After long pondering, I have decided to deny the right to the property of our family. However, I do retain his right to his property and things that he has been making use of in our family residence. I know that you are well aware of the reason of my decision, Robert. In my eyes, you are no longer worthy of the name Gordon. These decisions I make of my own free will, and in the best of conscience. William Gordon.
William's last will was apparently meant to stay hidden from everyone. Robert, I see now I didn't know you at all, you bloody beast.
Damn, Robert, you slimy maggot. After we're done with the will, we knock on Victoria's door to ask about the portrait.
That picture is a portrait of our ancestor, Lothar Gordon. It was he who founded the sanatorium where Robert works. They buried him in a modest grave behind the sanatorium.
Sounds like another job for grave robber Samuel. After removing the shrub, we pry the grave open with a rod, and...
Oh no, the grave is empty.
So we obviously go back to the church to ask about it.
I need to figure out where the remains of Lothar Gordon are preserved. I suspect there might be a record of it in the chronicle of the parish.
Our chronicles reach far into the past. I believe I should be able to find the information you need. Please, come back later. It's going to take me a while to locate the record.
Oh, brother, here we go again.
You have returned just in time, Samuel.
Finally! The gravedigger is in the family crypt, and he graciously agrees to get Lothar's urn for us.
It's going to take me a while to find it.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh, he's already back.
Just one more key left. Williams. There's only one way to obtain it. I fear the thought, but I have no choice.
Wait, what are we gonna do?
The ground hasn't hardened yet.
Oh. Well, let's grab the shovel, lock the gravedigger in the crypt, and get to work.
Forgive me, William. I had to do it. Fifth key, the last one.
Back to the front part of the church, we see the family carriage parked there. So we enter the church to investigate. It's bait! He's here to confess. So we pretend to be Father Frederick, going into the other side of the confession booth.
Father, I am haunted by a terrible secret. I know who has caused all this evil. I know who killed those people. I can no longer bear keeping this secret to myself, so I must confess. I saw him sneaking through the night, covered by the darkness. His palms, they were stained with blood, a terrible sight. I hid quickly so that he would not see me. When I briefly looked into his face, I was stunned with awe. I still have his expression before my eyes. All this time, I remained silent. I could not tell anyone. They would not believe me anyway. Even I would not believe it if I had not seen his face with my own eyes. I am afraid of pronouncing his name, Father.
Do go on, son.
I know the devil has many faces. That night I saw one of them. The face was that of the Lord of Castle Black Mirror. The youngest of the family, Samuel Gordon.
That must be the hair of the murderer. The murderer has black hair.
He kept saying that he hadn't killed him. That's what he was saying. He said he knew who killed him. That he knew.
Of your blood, others will rise with your name, bearing my curse. One of your heirs will convert 5 souls of 5 mortals. This will be the catalyst to bring my anger back to life. And I will return. When your days have ended, there will be no one to stop me.
God, forgive him his sins.
There's only one way from the quiet areas of the church. I must descend into the depths of the catacombs and destroy the source of evil that has taken over my soul.
Yep. It was Samuel all along. When I'm playing video games, I usually just turn my brain off and let the story be told to me. So I was actually surprised on my first playthrough, but looking at it now, it was kinda obvious, I suppose. Anyways, back to the story. Underground, we used the key we got in the safe on this pentagram, and then input the symbols in the order of the murders, opening this passage up. Here we have one of those maze puzzles, and I kinda hate them, and it didn't make any sense to me. So skip to opening up this portal, and now we're here. We conduct this ritual, but I don't see the logic at all. Nothing about this screams solution to the evil Mordred curse problem, but okay.
Such is the end of my story. I always feared that my past would resurface and cast its shadow over me. My soul has blackened from sins that cannot be undone. Evil has many faces, many forms. I know that the past has been a diverted mirror of my soul. Here, there is no judge to pass judgment. There is only me.
Okay, that was Black Mirror 1. Yeah, the ending is kinda cheap and not well explained a little bit. But my educated guess is that Samuel tricked Mordred into possessing him and then banished the beast once and for all. And also there are so many loose ends, like what happened to William? Did the curse throw him out the window? But the curse needs a human vessel, right? So who drew the sign on the tower? And Robert was just an evil scientist just cause? And what was Herman doing for him? Because no one's performing an autopsy at an asylum in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? And what was he trying to achieve? There are a lot of loose ends, but that doesn't really impact my love for this game one bit. Black Mirror's truly strong suits are the atmosphere and charm. And as I always say, it's not about the story, It's about how you tell it. And I absolutely loved to inhabit this world. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, blah 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 blah. Black Mirror 2 will be coming to a store near you in the near future, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I'm gonna keep making videos if an anvil doesn't fall on my head. Is that what I say? Bye!